Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge etc. From Mailroom to Corner Office, A Banker's Journey by Dr. R. Srinivasan. Cover page of the book. Today, that is 27th May 2025, I am sharing episode number 7. YouTube link of episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, episode 5 and episode 6. Entry into banking. I was appointed as a clerk in a bank that was called National Bank of India Limited, based at 3 North Beach Road, Madras 1. This road was also known as First Line Beach. Now this road is known as Rajaji Salai, and the bank was the third building to the left of Paris corner. It was constructed from granite to signify the strength of the bank. My appointment was subject to satisfactory medical report, certified by the bank's physician, a Dr. U. Srinivasan Rao, whose clinic was at the crossing of Thambu Chetty Street and Post Office Street. Jawaharlal Nehru, whom some of us might still remember as the first Prime Minister of independent India, described this bank as the National Bank of India, neither national nor Indian. The head office was in England at 26 Bishopsgate, London EC2. Even though the bank was first established in India in the 19th century, it was much older than the Bank of India. On March 1, 1949, I joined as a night clerk on an incredible pay packet of rupees 55 basic and rupees 45 DA after passing comprehensive medical scrutiny. From a monthly salary of rupees 74 in the High Court job to rupees 100 per month, that was no small jump in 1949. What is a night clerk? We are a group of 5 and our working hours were from 7 am to 10 am and again from 4 pm to 8 pm. Our job was to write the day's day book, cash book and general ledger in the evenings and to go home only after the books were balanced to the last pie. In the mornings, we had to help the British officers to check the ledger postings by calling out entries from the day book we had written the previous evening. After that, we had to write passbooks for customers. I never remembered a day when I was able to leave the office at 10 in the morning nor at 8 in the evening. The bank was very popular among the many multinational companies who were banking with the institution. Daily transactions used to run to a few thousand vouchers. There were 9 ledger keepers for the current accounts and 1 for savings accounts. Every day after the close of business, all of the 10 ledgers had to be sent to the safe vault in the basement. You might not imagine how heavy or thick the ledgers used to be. There were bearers, mostly from neighboring Telugu speaking districts. My Telugu speaking ability was nurtured there. The bearers were well built and used to carry the ledgers on their back one at a time. Ledger keepers were also of the same clerical grade, but they used to treat us, the night clerks, as slaves. They shouted at us and threw passbooks at our face if we made even a single mistake or overwrote any figure. Absolutely no mistake or wrong narration of entry was tolerated. As I said earlier, because my handwriting was better than the other 4, I was in demand from the ledger keepers to write their passbooks. Each one of us had to serve 2 ledger keepers. The keys for the safe vault in the basement used to be in the custody of a European officer who lived in the penthouse of the bank building. He had to come and open the vault and allow the bearers to bring out the ledgers and keep them on the desks of the British officers who would check the postings. After the ledgers were checked, they would be sent back to the counters and were kept in front of the ledger keeper's seat, which used to be at a higher pedestal. Customers had to be on the other side of the counter. They could cross the counter and come in only if permitted by the officer. As a Brahmin boy, it was expected of me to go through a religious ceremony called Upanayanam. This is considered to be an important occasion when a Brahmin is accepted as such after completing the day-long ceremony, during which he is given a sacred thread which he wears as a mark of having undergone the ceremony. My father chose an auspicious date, March 10, 1949, for this and asked me to take a day's casual leave from the bank. When I applied for a day's casual leave, Sri C.S. Ramamurthy, CSR, who was the most senior Indian officer of the bank and who was in charge of administration, was furious that I asked for leave within 10 days of my joining the bank. Later on, however, he granted it, being knowledgeable of its importance. It is the second most important function, only next to the marriage, in a Brahmin's life. I did not realize that I was not supposed to seek leave so soon. The Purohit performed the ceremony on the March 10, 1949 in a choltri located at 71 Narayana Mudali Street in Sokarpet, Madras. It was well attended. After the ceremonies were over, I was given strict instructions to perform Sandha Vandanam thrice a day as per Shastras. From the time I first had memories of my father, he used to have a shrill voice. He was referred to by the villagers as the Kichumuchu Ayar, meaning the man with a peculiar sounding voice. Strangely, on the day of my Upanayanam, the thread ceremony was performed by him. He got back his normal voice. Everybody was wonderstruck by this happening. It was a miracle. The first job description in the bank was to do the work of a night clerk, meaning that I went to the office at about 7 am to write passbooks for account holders. I worked till about 11 am and then returned home. I went back at around 3:30 pm and wrote the day book, balanced the books with the cash book and general ledger. All this work was done by a batch of 5 clerks. We could not leave unless the day's transactions have been tallied. There were days when a small difference could keep us back almost until the next day. Among the 5 staff members, Ramachandran, known to friends only as Raman, and Sadasivan became close to me. Raman was the brother of CSR's wife and Sadasivan was CSR's son. I recall Sadasivan was the first person in my memory to have passed the first part of CAIB exam in a single attempt. I made 3 attempts to do the same. It took me the same number of attempts for the second part when I got my qualification of CAIB in the year 1957. I must mention that Raman was something like a role model for me for his methodical work and perfection in what he did. He was also my guide to pass the CAIB. Unfortunately, he passed away suddenly after his retirement. Sadasivan became a big union leader and led movements against the management to secure better working conditions for his comrades. It was strange that while the father was on the management side, his son was essentially against the management. Sadasivan also passed away a year back. I called on him when he was seriously ill along with my wife Sulochana. First, a little more about me and the bank. For the first time in my life, in 1947, I saw the sum of rupees 100 as salary. In those days, we needed to affix a revenue stamp for 1 anna in the salary register and sign on it. As the stamp is affixed by the cashier of the bank, I would get only rupees 99.15.0. Some of the youngsters reading this may not know what this 15 is after rupees 99. Every rupee had 16 annas made up of 192 paisa. To get the pleasure of getting rupees 100, I used to take 1 anna from my mother and gave it to the bank with a request to give me a packet of 1 rupee notes. You cannot imagine the pride I had when I gave the crisp packet to my mother. The group of night clerks used to have a senior person as our monitor. When the ledger keepers had gone home, these monitors became our bosses. They had to acknowledge that all the transactions of the day had been recorded and tallied with the cash book and general ledger. Even if there was a difference of a single pi, 1 by 192 of a rupee, we could not leave the office. Whatever the time, we had to balance the books, and only then could we go home. Many days it can be as late as the next day's early morning before we could leave. On such days, when it became late for me to return home, my mother used to sit outside my house on a small step at the entrance and wait for my return. After giving me food, she would go to sleep. There was one incident with the British officer who held the keys of the safe vault. One morning he was quite late to come down from his flat in the penthouse and open the safe for the ledgers to be brought out. Everyone was waiting. As our day was being delayed, I was encouraged to go to the top floor of the building and gently remind the boss to come and open the safe. When I quietly entered his flat, he shouted, "Get out," at me. I was second to hear this and returned in fear, thinking that I had committed a grave mistake that might end my service in the bank. Luckily, nothing like that happened. The officer realized his mistake, and as soon as he came down, he expressed his regrets to me. Similarly, there was another day when, due to heavy work on the previous night and because I came in at 7 a.m., I was feeling exhausted and fell asleep at the desk of another British officer, a Mr. James Black. When he discovered me sleeping, he nicely woke me up and resumed his duties. These two incidents show the different approaches of the officer who came from abroad to run the bank. Also bear in mind that I was hardly 17 years of age, a malnourished skeleton of a boy who should in theory be disciplined for the misdemeanor of sleeping at the desk of the officer. To be shifted from the night clerk to a regular clerk, we need to wait for the management to recruit a fresh set of clerks to relieve us. This happened after nearly 2 years. I was posted to the outward bills department to work as an assistant to the previous batch of night clerks. Thus I was transferred earlier. There were two sections of outward bills department, one that dealt with foreign currency denominated bills and another dealing with bills drawn in Indian rupees. There I learned the shortcut method to convert US dollars and British pound sterling into rupees without using a calculator. If I remember correctly, the rupee to pound parity rate was rupees 13.33 to the pound. After a few months in the foreign currency section, I was asked to work in the rupee bill section. This was around 1952. Soon I became the head of the section, and it was here that I encountered a test in life. Entry into banking completed. Next chapter will be personal life and we will start through next episode. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, subscribe and share.